Listening Fill in the Blanks.
Let's start.
Consuming a healthy diet throughout the life course helps to prevent malnutrition in all its forms, as well as a range of non-communicable diseases, NCDs, and conditions. However, increased production of processed foods, rapid urbanization, and changing lifestyles have led to a shift in dietary patterns. People are now consuming more foods high in energy, fats, free sugars and salt/sodium, and many people do not eat enough fruit, vegetables, and other dietary fiber such as whole grains. Dengue is a mosquito-transmitted virus, and dengue fever is the leading cause of arthropod-borne viral disease worldwide, posing a significant global health concern. This disease is also known by various monikers, such as breakbone or 7-day fever, and is characterized by intense muscle spasms, joint pain, and high fever, reflecting both the severity and the duration of symptoms. Most dengue virus cases are asymptomatic, yet severe illness and mortality can occur, especially in regions where female Aedes mosquitoes, Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus, primarily transmit the virus. Dengue fever, with over 100 million cases annually and 20 to 25,000 deaths, presents a substantial public health challenge, marked by epidemics across different regions globally. Diagnosis usually entails identifying virus antigens using diverse laboratory techniques.
The genetic theory is also undermined by results from Peter Hepper and his team at Queen's University in Belfast, Ireland. In 2000, the psychologists used ultrasound to show that by the 15th week of pregnancy, fetuses already have a preference as to which thumb they suck. In most cases, the preference continued after birth. At 15 weeks, though, the brain does not yet have control over the body's limbs. Hepper speculates that fetuses tend to prefer whichever side of the body is developing quicker, and that their movements, in turn, influence the brain's development. Whether this early preference is temporary or holds up throughout development and infancy is unknown. Genetic predetermination is also contradicted by the widespread observation that children do not settle on either their right or left hand until they are 2 or 3 years old.
Identify the causes. Jan Elsner, Melbourne psychologist who specializes in executive coaching, says thriving on a demanding workload is typical of senior executives and other high-potential business people. She says there is no one-size-fits-all approach to stress. Some people work best with high adrenaline periods followed by quieter patches, while others thrive under sustained pressure. We could take urine and blood hormonal measures and pass judgment of whether someone's physiologically stressed or not, she says. But that's not going to give us an indicator of what their experience of stress is and what the emotional and cognitive impacts of stress are going to be.
The problem arises not only from the scale and variety of the archaeological remains, but also from two other sources: the very varied natural and human threats to the resource, and the complex web of organizations with authority over, or interests in, the coastal zone. Human threats include the redevelopment of historic towns and old dockland areas, and the increased importance of the coast for the leisure and tourism industries, resulting in pressure for the increased provision of facilities such as marinas. The larger size of ferries has also caused an increase in the damage caused by their wash to fragile deposits in the intertidal zone. The most significant natural threat is the predicted rise in sea level over the next century, especially in the south and east of England.
Some educators and parents are suspicious of mother tongue-based teaching programs because they worry that they take time away from the majority language. For example, in a bilingual program where 50% of the time is spent teaching through children's home language and 50% through the majority language, surely children won't progress as far in the letter? One of the most strongly established findings of educational research, however, is that well implemented Bilingual programs can promote literacy and subject matter knowledge in a minority language, without any negative effects on children's development in the majority language. Within Europe, the Foyer program in Belgium, which develops children's speaking and literacy abilities in 3 languages, their mother tongue, Dutch and French, most clearly illustrates the benefits of bilingual and trilingual education. See Cummins, 2000.
The repeating cycle of sand inching up the windward side to the dune crest, then slipping down the dune slip face allows the dune to inch forward, migrating in the direction the wind blows. As you might guess, all of this climbing then slipping leaves its mark on the internal structure of the dune. The image on the right shows fossil sand dune structure preserved in the Merced Formation at Fort Funston, Golden Gate National Recreation Area. The sloping lines, or laminations you see, are the preserved slip faces of a migrating sand dune. This structure is called cross-bedding and can be the result of either wind or water currents. The larger the cross-bedded structure, however, the more likely it is to be formed by wind rather than water.
This is primarily achieved today through cavity wall insulation. Insulating bricks are built in 2 separate leaves, as they are cahiers in the trade. The gap between the inner and outer leaves of brickwork depends on the type of insulation used, but there should be enough space for a gap of 20 mm between the insulating material in the cavity and the 2 leaves on either side. The air in these gaps is an efficient insulator by itself. Cavity walls have IELTS replaced solid walls, because they are more resistant to rain penetration. Because 2 leaves are necessary, a strong brick manufacturing industry is essential, so that enough good quality insulating bricks are plentifully available.
In September 2018, the French government banned the use of phones in schools from preschool through 9th grade and also from off-campus school activities, like sports events. The ban has been received with mixed responses, according to reports from NPR and Forbes. It's easier to concentrate in class without the phones, but they were largely not allowed in classrooms anyway, and the ban is difficult to police, especially at lunch, which, at many French schools, is 2 hours long. Modern agronomy, plant breeding, agrochemicals such as pesticides and fertilizers, and technological developments have sharply increased crop yields, but also contributed to ecological and environmental damage. Selective breeding and modern practices in animal husbandry have similarly increased the output of meat, but have raised concerns about animal welfare and environmental damage. Environmental issues include contributions to climate change, depletion of aquifers, deforestation, antibiotic resistance, and other agricultural pollution. Agriculture is both a cause of and sensitive to environmental degradation, such as biodiversity loss, desertification, soil degradation, and climate change, all of which can cause decreases in crop yield. Genetically modified organisms are widely used, although some countries ban them.